and welcome tonight. This is our first round table for Minds of the Spectres. It's our first attempt here at giving you a combination video of things that are coming up in the Spectres' lives, Spectres' opinions, and an overall general idea of what we're trying to do to provide you with our opinions and our take on the world of gaming. Tonight we have a full crowd. The Spectres have been growing in our legion. We've got Spectre Carl Ames behind the camera tonight. We've got Spectre Art Bernard on the sidelines here, keeping us flowing evenly. And next to me, I've got Spectre Senense and Spectre Foreman. And of course, I'm Spectre Weil. You've seen us in our videos so far. What we're doing tonight is we're going to provide several different venues, several different things to talk about, different topics. And what we want to really start with is the starter box. Tonight, Dark Vengeance Warhammer 40K, the new 6th edition starter box. It's actually coming out with the Dark Angels Space Marines Codex or Space Marines chapter in it, as well as the new Chaos Marines. And the interesting thing about the starter box is, of course, it's 2 armies in one, allowing for 2 people, such as Spectre Foreman and I have done, to split the box in half, and eventually we'll have a nice grudge match between the 2 factions and the 2 new codexes coming out. So I've actually started off with the Dark Angels. Not something I've been interested in throughout my gaming history. I've kind of ignored them. But I have to say, as part of my Space Wolves faction, you may have seen one of my videos with 9 land speeders. I love land speeders, and I've been running what I call the Space Wolves Air Force. Looking at the new Dark Angels, I realized that they can have even more. The Raven Wing can have 15 to 20 land speeders in it. So I'm going to take a stab at the Dark Angels and actually put together a Raven Wing force. That'll be coming up on the table, hopefully, in the next couple months as I put things together and get them painted. Spectre Foreman has taken the other side of the coin on this one, and he's gone with the Chaos Army. A new venture for him, as he's been an Imperial player with his Blood Angels. However, Chaos Blood Angels, same colors, who knows. So Jake, let us know what you like about the Chaos and what you're going to be doing with it.
Well, it's a new army for me. I don't have any Chaos going into it, so I'm really excited about the new Codex and starting a new evil army. I can hear the voices from the warp calling me, and I'm ready to destroy some Imperial armies over here. I'm really liking the new demon engines and the even more demonic look they're going for, and I'm really looking to kind of not use the Predators and Vindicators, things that I could have in my Blood Angels. I want to use demon engines, the new Forge Fiend, the Hell Drake, and so I'm going to be looking to start a new Chaos army with the Codex coming out. I've already decided I'm going to go Alpha Legion for my paint colors. I wanted to stay away from black because I had the Death Spectres for Codex Marines, and I want to stay away from red because I have Blood Angels. So I want to kind of branch out in my colors, and decided to Alpha Legion, be a little more colorful, but evil color.
All right. And Spectre Senense, you were mentioning here that you're going to counter the Chaos by putting your Grey Knights on the table. How do you feel that the Grey Knights Codex is now going to pair up against the new Chaos stuff and what they have available to defend against it?
Well, it'll be really interesting. I mean, what he's mentioning, the War Machines are, they look fantastic. They look powerful. Some anti-flyer going on with that, with the Hell Drake. It should even up pretty well because we have the Storm Raven, and that really will match up. And you're not going to field many of them. So one flyer versus Codex right now. I see that pairing out pretty well. They're going to have the toughness, they're going to have the powers, they're going to have some good abilities. So it should be more of an interesting game. And I think the Grey Knights have, come down to earth a little bit. They're much flavorful to play, but you can do quite a bit with it, much like Chaos. So we could really add some different tabletop games, I think, me and Foreman. I look forward to it.
Right, and so you've got the new White Dwarf coming out here, showing off the new Chaos stuff. I've even heard rumor that you've already placed some pre-order items from it. What are you looking at getting to bolster your new Chaos forces?
Well, so far I have the Dark Vengeance half of Chaos, and I purchased on eBay some regular troopers. And then to kind of flesh that out with the new stuff coming out, as I said, I really like the new Demon engine. So along with pre-ordering the new Codex, I pre-ordered the Hell Drake, which is their new flyer, kind of a warp beast mechanical dragon. And then I ordered the Fiend kit, which can be used to make the Mauler Fiend, which is the close combat demon engine, or the Forge Fiend, which is more of the shooting demon engine. I'm going to build the Forge Fiend. I like more shooting. I have my Blood Angels, a lot of assaults, in-your-face assaults. I kind of want to do a little bit more shooting with my Chaos, but, you know, that's all planning before the Codex even comes out, so we'll see. You know, I might end up leaning more towards assault just because I like it better, but those are my plans so far for them. What I do like about kind of what's coming out about the Codex, even though before it comes out in this 2-week build-up where they finally start releasing some of the details about it. Phil Kelly is the author of it. I'm very excited about that, based on what he's done with the Dark Angels, which both of you guys play, where he has so many varied builds. He doesn't go out to just make 1, 2 overpowered pieces that everybody has to have in their army, much like the Grey Knights, Cypherman Dread, where you know everybody's got to have that in their army to feel that they're competitive.
He did a really good job with the Dark Eldar.
I feel like he's gonna have so many varied and just flavorful things, which is what I like. What I'm looking forward to is there's so many directions you can go in your army. You can build a ton of things, and every time you play, you can feel the different. You could have an assault army one day and turn around and have all shooting the next day.
Tempted by the Cultists. That's the new figure line that came out with
the
wonderful set.
The meat shields. I think they might work out well. It's kind of a shield and kind of distract you from the heavy hitters coming in behind, or can act like a wall of the disposable troops.
Yep.
Which is how Chaos uses them anyway.
About the Chaos Demons, one of the things I was hoping to see would be a combination Demons and Chaos Space Marines Codex, giving you all that flavor and all that different option. Of course, now with the 6th edition and the Allies rules, you could mix in some of the Demons as well. Do you see picking up any of those or adding any of those features to your army?
Probably not right away because, like I said, it's a new army to me. A lot of new things coming out. I want to get all those Chaos Marines and the new things and get a feel for it. It's going to be a while before I want to add something from another codex to them where, I feel like, I'm kind of bored of it or it needs a little something extra for me. I think with all the new stuff coming out, I'm going to have my fill buying and building and painting and playing with all of these new toys. So, but eventually, I'll probably throw in some Chaos as allies.
Yeah, I think all of us are pretty purist in the army sense. I don't think we really use allies so much. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the army can do, especially playing against it, seeing the new codex coming out, hopefully in the next month or so. And I think that kind of brings us on to the next category here. With the new models, with the new stuff coming on, we've got the Forge World coming into the play of the rules here, where their Games Workshop's making them kind of official. What do you guys think of what's going to happen with, like, proxying models or custom building, scratch builds into some of these new Chaos things that aren't necessarily available yet or will be coming out shortly, but the people who want to play it now won't have those models yet?
Yeah, I'm a pretty much a big part of the two-way street because if you've seen my Tyranid army, which is on our site, I was forced to build a lot of my model range because Tyranids at the time only had the older range models. So there's still no heartbeat for the Tyranids. I had to build the Taveragon at the time. I had to build the Tyranid for the T-Rex, which I actually use as another model from an old range part. But I had to build all these models. The Swarm Lord was not an existing model. They finally put them out, because of the court situation and they needed to get these models out. So I'm not against models that don't exist. If they're going to take some time to get out there, this is very typical of GW. Released very first, the models that are fresh, new, great impact on the line. Then they do what they call second wave or whatever part coming down the road. So you see something in the Codex, build it. I've seen a couple times on the Necron tables, the Triarch Walkers, people had built some really, really good kits for those. And then the Walkers came out, which are very similar. And I have no problem with anything from the Codex. You build, you scratch. They're meant to modify. It's part of the hobby. It's part of the conversion. Forge World is a little different beast for me. That's really a price tag that has a lot of different rule sets to it. The models are pretty distinct, and they just don't always fit the same bill. And for me to kind of go on that aspect there, I like to see more of the actual Forge World models if I'm going to play with them. if you want to proxy something on a friendly game we're going to play, hey, I want to try something out before I buy it because I know that price tag is pretty expensive, I'm cool with that. I don't mind that. But for tournaments, I definitely don't want to see a lot of, proxying of models that do exist with models that I think are cheaped out. Because I've come from 3rd edition, 2nd edition, and I hate to say it's a bit of a resource war hobby, much like the real military. So the more money you spend, the better off you're going to be as a player sometimes because you have more options. This game is built around it. For tournament competitive, and I haven't played in a lot of tournaments lately, but for me, that's part of the big element there. If I have to spend the money, then you have to spend the money. I think that's part of my fair balance. That's the way I look at that.
So we're really looking back to like the 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 1994, 1995, 96, when Games Workshop said, if you want to play in our tournaments, you really have to play with our models. No competitive models. If you want to play Forge World, you got to have the Forge World model.
In the Forge World sense, I think so.
Yeah. Insofar as like the models on the table go, Codex stuff that isn't out yet, Scratch Build is okay, but I think it really has to be, and we'll go back to another, mid-90s term, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. If you can't identify it as the model that you want to use, I think we really need to keep it off the table. We really need to be putting models on the table that are representative of the rule you want to play with. Do you have any opinion on that, Jake?
Yeah, I think the days of having to scratch build a model that's in the Codex but isn't put out by GW, those days are done. That's I'm a newer player. I kind of saw the end of it, but those days are in the past because of lawsuits. Chapter House Studios, they had all the Thunderwolf Cavalry for Space Wolves, Triarch Stalker for Necrons. GW doesn't want to deal with that anymore, so you're seeing it with the new Chaos. For the pre-orders are out now, the advanced orders. They're not putting out any new molds of any of the old stuff. This first wave is just all new things that are in the Codex because they want to cover all their bases. There is going to be a GW model for every entry in the Codex, so they don't have to deal with that anymore. The Forge World thing, that is that's a big different thing because in our area, it's becoming a lot more common. Everybody's finally decided it's okay to play with Forge World, without arguing about whether you should be able to or not.
Flyers. They've caused that debate to come in our way.
But the proxying debate could become even more of an issue. In the new White Dwarf, you see that they're coming out with the Horus Heresy. So they're starting to come out with a lot of new models that are really amping up stuff. Primarchs, it's a big thing. Do we really want to see cheap, cheesy proxies if somebody wants to play with a badass Primarch that's just going to walk through your army? I, for one, don't want to play against a Horus proxy that's this. That's just going to walk through with no problem. So, we'll see how it plays out with that. But I'm definitely, even though I don't own any Forge World stuff, I'm more of the camp of you want to play with those crazy rules, you want to use those nice models, buy them. Don't just kind of half-ass it, go for it.
So proxying is a test, not a big deal. Everybody thinks that's a cool idea on the table with a friendly game. But definitely, if you're going to play tournament, you're going to play competitive, going to play for any kind of glory, then you really need to throw down exactly what you want to play, buy the model, put it on the table, let your opponent know that you've got the stones to pay the money to get the power to play with. So I think that's a fair agreement all around the table here, and I think that probably leads us into the next tournament-related item that we wanted to discuss, which is composition score. Here in our gaming area, we're starting to look at tournaments with a design into the army build to begin with. They're starting to add composition score, very similar to what a lot of the national tournaments are doing, where if the players or the judges of the tournament want to see a more varied army, they're starting with a base score and then modifying that based on your army builds. They're looking at the amount of troops that you're using. They're looking at the number of units. They're looking at how many units are duplicated each other. There's a large growing faction that believe that a military unit or an army in the 40K built around the military idea of similarities and duplicated troop selections is not so fun to play against. They're looking for varied troops, varied models, and they're looking for different things. So the composition scorers are now dinging people for using multiple units of the same build or the same design, or duplicating the units throughout their selections of heavy choices or fast attack choices. I myself kind of think that if it's in the codex, play it. It's your game. You want to have fun the way you want to play it. Let your opponent enjoy the game or not, based on if he wins or loses, not if he doesn't like the fact that you're playing two of the same model or three of the same model. So my idea of the composition score is just let it play. I mean, going back again through second and third edition, it was, if it's in the rule book, if it's in the codex, play it. It's written as that way, and you really can't call it cheese if it's just in the codex. It's obviously how they wanted it to be built. What do you guys think about the composition score for tournaments and how you're going to be affected by them in your armies?
Well, I mean, I understand where the hobbyists in our group are kind of looking at. I mean, they're trying to build for fun, but to me, it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to sell because you're putting fun to a hobby, but you're adding tournament. Tournament to me has always been a word for competitive play, regardless. It's very hard to, in my experience with Games Workshop, is to figure out what exactly is fair and what really makes the point cost. One prime example is if you look at a Dark Eldar and Eldar. An Eldar player is putting more points on the table, but he's having less rules, special rules to go with the same type of Eldar character. And a higher ballistic skill for the Dark Eldar player. So, where that comes from the rules, I don't think there's a table for getting so much to make anything happen. So when you're trying to ding one player to say, you can't have that because we're all afraid of the Space Wolves 3 Longfang group that can split fire and do all this extra damage. Or we hate the Razor Spam because the Marines can get all that aspect there. I kind of feel a little upset about that because part of me is, I'm with you. It's in the codex. You build for the codex. The military is going to get the best of what type of unit. We all look at a codex and min-max the points cost. I'm not going to feel something if it costs too much and it's not going to have the effect on the table. We do it anyways. I mean, we all play in that aspect. Otherwise, we would force our guys to build random units and then fill them on the table and say, okay, that's fun. I want to put every one unit in the table, roll randomly, and that's what I should feel. Now, I should have a fun game in that aspect. But we don't do that. We min-max. We figure out, what am I going to put on the table? Who does the best point for what I have? Because, to me, most of the codexes are built to kill Marines. And the one thing you take away is the fact that they can put out a lot of the extra same stuff. I think that hurts Space Marine players. And I think, from the tournaments I've heard about, I think Jake played more than Marines can see. I think when you do that to him on a tournament, he's going to suffer his ability to win. And I know there's certain armies that do better with that. Space was brought up from benefiting from that maxing part. But to me, he's played many Marines with our Spectres. That's tough to do. And you're doing Sisters, which is, that suffers on that codex alone. Come on.
Well, I just suffer from that based on the fact that I only have 2 selections per category and only 1 selection of troops.
Right.
So I have to duplicate troops. But
I think that's a good point. One of the big things is that composition may sound good in a vacuum, but the reality is there's a lot of codexes, and they've come out in a wide span of time, and the kind of buzzword about it is codex creep. They're getting more powerful as you go. The difference between the Sisters of the Battle or Eldar, or, Dark Angels that are waiting on the old codex that are waiting on a new one, and then you get Grey Knights, Necrons, these new codexes that have a lot more very powerful units, costed differently. So it kind of, composition hurts armies more, I think, some armies more than other armies. So it kind of skews the results of the tournament, the playability of certain people that have those older armies, or the armies that don't scale well to composition. And then as a newer player who's, I've built 2 armies, but they're not, I don't have large collections for any of them. I kind of built them based on the view that I had of how the army would work. So when you limit people in composition, you're saying, we want to see with a lot of stuff. That could entail buying all this new stuff, because that's not the way you built it. You built your army to win. You built it with units that were effective on the tabletop, not units that are so-so on the tabletop, or aren't even good at all on the tabletop. Because you don't want that. You want to win. And composition kind of forces you to play to that. But as devil advocate, I do kind of like seeing all the different things. I don't generally like playing against Razor, Spam, or any of those armies. It is nice. And in our area, we have two big tournaments a year that are using it. So I mean, it's only twice a year that it's a thing. And it caters, every month, the regular tournaments cater to that. Build the best army you can, go out and kick some butt. Twice a year, I think, is more than fair to let the other guys have their day in the sun. Let them say, you know, this is what we want to play, this is our vision, this is a hobby tournament, that's what we call it, a hobby tournament. Have your army painted, a regular monthly tournament is people show up in plastic, not even primed or anything. This, we want to see paint on them, which I like, I think is nice too, seeing paint. You want to play against the painted army, you want to see it.
The Spectre Studio's bat reps always have painted figs.
Yes.
One of our little things that we try to make sure we do.
Not to mention, though, you brought up a good point, though. When building an army, some people look at the army first on the table before they even buy models. What the hobby tournament is really asking players to do is kind of spread out their purchases. Although the way the prices are going now, I mean, it's hard to really kind of just spread out and go buy boxes random to see if they fit your army or to see if they'll be fun to play. So I think we need to find a happy medium somewhere in between that allows people to buy exactly what they're going to spend on.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, and I know the comp scores that the guys are working on are really aimed at trying to do that. I mean, I've heard a lot of talk with judges, and I did the last standoff with some judges there. And
they are putting in a lot of work in trying to make people happy.
Absolutely, it's absolutely, and you got to look at that. But it's really trying to get the players to come in with that type of hobby concept in mind. It's tough. And like I said, when you first hear a tournament, you think competitive play, and then you're trying to balance a system that, to me, has never been made to be balanced. So, like I say, with codex creep and stuff like that, we got to work with, you know, trying to figure out a good group that will to work out. Will showcase more models, but it's a tough score. It's a definitely tough score to do that.
Certainly. So, Games Workshop probably the top in the hobby on as far as money putting out to play. Luckily, there's so many other games out there and so many other companies to purchase on that we can really spread out our interest and keep things flavorful and varied. And that kind of brings us to what you see around the table a little bit here. As Spectre Studios, we're not just focused on Warhammer or 40K or even Games Workshop in particular. We're moving out, we're branching out. We've got a number of different concepts that we're interested in playing. And you've seen some of our videos go on it now. We've started the zombie side. We've got several individuals who are following the Kickstarter website and supporting the different new projects coming out. We're also looking at Dust, a new game that's come out for the world written by Paulo Parente. It's an alternate World War II universe. We've got the Star Wars X-Wing game that just was released and is in production in print now. We're looking forward to playing that. We haven't done a video yet, but we will be doing that shortly. What do you guys think about the new stuff coming out and where we're going to be looking at the different venues that we're playing?
Well, I'm really excited. The first Got table I just put out for our channel, which I think some great personalities. Spectre Forma was part of it, and Spectre Ames, who was behind the camera, all had some exciting play against zombies and trying to survive the apocalypse.
We were
find out what happened to those guys on that part. So we'll try to look a little bit more. I'm really excited about X-Wing. I've been a huge fan of the Star Wars universe forever. I've been searching for all sorts of space battles. We've done the old 40K Battlefleet Gothic, but this is really fast, quick, light action with the ships that we've all grown to love. So that should be pretty exciting with that. And we've been all collaborating on Dust Tactics. We really want to throw down with that. There's nothing like German zombies to eat Russian communists.
German guerrillas.
And German guerrillas, too, I know. Spectre Wild introduced me to that, and I was like, gorillas and zombies. And I have been on board ever since. So I definitely want to throw down for that. I've been pretty excited and trying to get some of that up. So, yeah, I think it's going to be some good stuff. We're really trying to branch out. I really want to thank, on my part, of producing what we're doing here on the channel is the fact that now I've had YouTube for a while since the thing has begun, but Spectre is behind the camera, Art behind, helping us out. We've got a couple other people collaborating. I mentioned that on the, if you look at Zombie side for what we got in Got Table, Steve Pisani is going to help us out with a couple of segments. So I got a lot of people really kind of help pushing what we're doing here. So I think Mindless Spectre would be a great setting for you to find out what we're doing. And you can really see what we're going to branch out to a lot of these other vids, because we've got some bat reps we had mentioned. We've got some Got Table games that we're going to be also doing, some painting segments and things of that sort. So it'll be going in a lot of directions.
I think so, yeah. I mean, that just shows you how varied of a hobby group or a hobby set that the Spectres have. We also do Malifaux, War Machine. Really, if it's been a game somewhere in the world that has popped up in the last 10 years, we've probably thrown down and tried to play it at one point.
Bring back Confrontation.
Confrontation would be a lovely game for us to do a video on.
Oh yeah.
I think we'll actually probably pull that off sometime. I think Jeff has the newest rules. We can probably get those from him.
We'll pull back the old rules just because we have some awesome figs. I mean,
3.5.
some of our best beautiful figs are Confrontation figs that we'll all have that. So
Yeah, those Rackham figs were wonderful sculpts.
maybe
Absolutely.
maybe an archive bat rep. We can put something like that together.
All right. So Jake, I mean, we've been talking about some of the other games. Do you have any game that you've got on the horizon that you want to really bring the Spectres to and push, or?
Right now, my focus is just chaos. Look out for forces of chaos coming out of the warp, sweeping through the Imperium. They're taking over.
Fall into the dark side.
Yep. So,
All right.
and then look for me in other game videos I'll be playing.
We drag him into everything we do. So what we've got here is our first roundtable Minds of the Spectres. We hope that you enjoyed what we've put out for you tonight. We've tried to give you some opinions, some point of views, some things to look forward to in the future, and hopefully we can continue this format and bring you more videos. Thanks for watching Minds of the Spectre.